Rightio, boys and girls, it's time for another Jeep Talk Show interview. And if I'm just running words together, it's normal because I've done these interviews many times. So I just kind of blah, 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 blah through there. So I was looking for a AI sign language person so that I could actually have a little thing appear at the bottom and they would do the sign language for me and say something completely different, maybe something offensive, really make the,
right.
really make the people that are deaf that are watching this show, they could enjoy a whole different show. So Grant grew up with an obsession for dirt bikes in the outdoors, but after years of fun in the sun and working construction, he noticed a huge gap in the market and created a solution for faster, easier, and safer cargo securing. Now, was it construction that made you want to get something that was easier to secure loads?
It was all the above. I mean, mainly it was my father. So I started working with, Dad was a cop. Then he opened a small construction company when I was about 12. So I started working with him, and I noticed a pattern pretty quickly between him and Grandpa. They didn't like ratchet straps. They didn't really know how to use them. And so they would only use, well, they're a giant pain. And not a lot of guys like to admit it, but I've run the numbers, and 1 in 5 of us don't know how to use them.
Right.
If we can all figure it out eventually,
yes.
But then you take a break from it, you come back to one 4 months later, and your buddies are looking at you, and you're trying to pretend you know what you're doing, but none of us do. And Dad was in that category too, so he would only use bungee cords. Now, we all know the dangers of bungee cords, and I witnessed it firsthand. He was going to let go of a tension bungee cord so that it wouldn't fly across the bed and hit me on the other side. And he let go while it still had, 30 pounds of tension on it. And just boom, that hook sunk into the palm of his hand, just like lightning, And look, Dad's rough and tough construction worker. It wasn't a big deal to him. But to me, it was that moment when you're a kid. And by this time, I'm 15, 16. It was that moment where you're like, man, there's a gap in the market. There's got to be a better way. But I was a 15, 16-year-old kid. What am I going to do with this idea? So I built a couple prototypes when I was a kid. It worked. I was just kind of scrapping bungees with the straps I found at Menards, which was our store in the Midwest. And it worked. Everybody thought it was cool. Mom thinks it's cool. Dad thinks it's cool. But again, this isn't enough to validate a product. And turn 18, then you get jobs, and then the girls come along, and you get distracted. So I didn't do anything.
Girls never understand why you got a strap with you if you're going out on a date. So there's no testing there.
No, it's not a solid icebreaker. No, not at all. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, it started with construction, and throughout my life, I was a dirt bike kid, obsessed with dirt bikes since I was 5. And by the time I was 15, I think I bought my first one. I scraped up $750 and bought a complete turd. And from there, it was just your weekends were defined by getting the bike to the track and spending the day at the track. But here we are again, getting the bike to the track. And straps were always like, no one wanted to spend a lot of money on them. They were never really readily available. People were always stealing them, and they were always jammed in the corner of the bed of the truck, kind of filled with dirt and grime and sand. So there's no premium straps. Nobody's respecting these things. There's no carry bags. And worst of all, they're all ratchet straps, and we're all fumbling around with them. And usually we do it wrong or put a giant knot in them, yada, yada, yada. So fast forward in life, I'm 30. This is around COVID time, and I had my first daughter, and I was a lineman working construction. And I just decided when I had my first daughter that I wanted to buy her a Mercedes when she turned 16. But I was looking at my life and my income, and I kind of felt like a phony when I made that, little silent promise to her when I was rocking her in bed. And I said, if I'm going to do that, I need to change this up. I need to figure out something besides what I'm doing. Not that there's anything wrong with the trades. And sometimes I miss that lineman paycheck. Don't get me wrong. But I knew that I I was feeling kind of creatively limited, and I wanted to expand and start to multiply my income. And I thought the only way to do that was with a new invention idea, a new product. And that's when I went back to that notepad we all have in our phone, and I found what I used to call the Grant strap. And I said, maybe I'll just try this. And I had never even run a lemonade stand, man. So right there at COVID, we were all picking up new hobbies. My hobby was try to start a business with no experience.
So I think a lot of us like the idea of starting a business, and I think a lot of people really get excited about doing it until they actually try to start one. What was the most? I mean, you had your dad that ran a business, so that probably helped. Would you have started the business, do you think, if you didn't have your dad to either watch how he was doing it or ask him questions?
I wouldn't say that was really a factor one way or another, because Dad actually told me don't ever start a business, as you're alluding
that
to.
That meant that you had to at that point. It's like,
that
don't date
meant
that
like
girl.
I'll show him.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a obedient son, I didn't listen, but it wasn't right away. Dad said, "Hey, business is tough. Just get into the trades, get a good job, put your head down, put in the work, go home at night, kiss your wife, go to bed." Okay. And I did that, and I tried that, and that worked fine for 10 years, 12 years. That worked fine. But eventually I just hit a point where I'm like, I know it's going to be tough. I've heard all the stories. I've listened to all the shows. We've all watched Shark Tank at that point. I know it's going to be tough, but I think not knowing is more painful than any pain that I'll go through in this business. And that's fairly true. I mean, I think we should all try to hit our potential. And that's what I was trying to do. I think not knowing would bother a lot of people. And again, this is if you have that mind, that entrepreneurial mind, or even just an inclination to try something new. But yeah, no, I mean, what I experienced in construction watching Dad was he ran it as a solo operation. He was the guy on the ladder. Very hard to keep good people. And so to him, it was kind of like a job that you also have to be the president of. I'm trying to run my company. I'm trying to work on my business, not in my business, which was, I hit a rude awakening. At one point in business, I tried to pull myself too much out of it. And here we are in 2026, and I'm trying to put myself back into it 120%. It's part of the reason why we're here today, because at the end of the day, I'm the CEO. I have to champion the product. I have to own every element of every aspect. I don't have to be the expert in it, but I have to know enough about it to be dangerous.
So what was, I think you may have already included this in what you just said, but let me point it out, or get you to point it out. What was the most difficult part about starting a business?
The most difficult part, especially with a product business, or God forbid you have an invention idea, because you can call torque strap whatever you want, new product, an innovation, invention, I don't really care. But when I thought of this product, I thought this is an invention. So I need to start Googling how to invent something. And the biggest issue I ran into was the snakes in the grass, the leeches. They're showing up at the top of Google, or their YouTube videos are at the tippy top, and they're teaching you, oh, you have an invention idea? Just call us and sign up for the growth program, and we'll help you get licensed. Don't do all that hard work. Just go after licensing deals and collect royalty mailbox money, right? While you bounce your kids on your lap. And man, that sounds great. But I don't know any other industry where the idea of don't do any work and get paid actually works. Like if I'm going to start a roofing company, people don't come up to me and say, well, don't go start a roofing company. Take my course on how to license your roof. Like, no, that doesn't exist. And it makes a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, you have to make a product and you have to sell it. Customers want to know two things. How much does it cost and when can I get it? And if you don't know those two things, you can't create a good business. Therefore, you can't license this idea to people. So anyway, you can tell I'm passionate about that. So I went down a whole rabbit hole of just getting derailed from the plans. And once I realized I was probably going to get scammed, I'm wasting a lot of time. Luckily, I didn't buy any growth courses. That's when I buckled down and said, okay, just forget all that noise, forget all this dream about passive income. You got to buckle down. You got to do the hard work, and you got to sell it yourself. That's, I think, the hardest part when you have an invention business is sifting through the weeds.
Yeah. So you just said something key, and I hear you guys out there. I know what you're thinking. What the hell is it? You haven't got to the point of what is it that we're talking about, and we're going to do that next. So hang in there. So when you say you had to sell it, did you have anything at that time, or did you just have an idea? Are you talking about selling the idea, and is the selling the idea part to get financing? What is it? What is it you're selling if you haven't invented it yet?
You're never, people do not buy ideas. That's I guess what I'm alluding to. People
that's why I was confused. Is like, I mean, can you actually sell nothing? I mean,
right.
to a degree, you have to if you're going to get money to finance your product, because it's not cheap to have a product made, a prototype made.
Right. Yeah, you're right. In some cases, you have to go after financing, but I would never recommend a new inventor, new business owner, try to invent something so complex that they can't make it themselves in their garage. You're already barking up the wrong tree. You need to get your feet wet with something simple. I invented a spring-loaded cargo strap, something so easy to use, you just pull, right? This is something that does not require heavy tooling. This is something that does not require extreme engineering between multiple different engineers in different facets, design, electrical, mechanical. No. This is something you go to Home Depot, you cut up what is working, you implement other parts and pieces that you source from Amazon or Alibaba, and you make a prototype that doesn't look good, but it gets your wife on your side, or it gets your buddy on your side. It gets your peers on your side. You can get some feedback. So when I say you have to sell it, what I mean is you have to go through those phases. Okay, we're prototyping. We're making the ugly version, and that works. Now we need to make samples. Now we need to make something so good that, as we used to say when we were linemen, something you would take to the fair, right? If we tied a bad knot, the foreman would give you a hard time and say, well, it'll work. It's not something you take to the fair, but it'll work. And so you get your samples, something you would take to the fair, and then you sell them however you connect with people, whether you're big on Facebook and love your community, whether you're in a church group, I don't care. Find those crazy first 30 customers and sell it to them. And then it's just rinse and repeat, but do it smarter and more efficient and on bigger scales over and over again until, one day you're on Amazon, you're in Walmart.com, you have a very robust website. Eventually you'll get there, in chapter 3 or 4.
Right.
But yeah, to answer your question, selling it means, make it and sell it. Just like a lot of us have side hustles. We make cornhole boards, or we make custom pool tables or custom cabinets, whatever. No one's buying the idea of your cabinet. No one really wants to invest in your cabinet making. But if you've made 100 and you've turned quite a bit of profit, and you can share that profit with somebody who buys 10% of the company, yeah, then it's easy to get funding. But that comes next.
All right. So as I promised, what the hell is a torque strap? It sounds like to me it's a bungee cord, a ratchet strap combined. Oh, and there's a spring thrown in there for good measure.
Right. Yeah. Just mix that all up and imagine the product. Poof. For our audio listeners. Okay. So to tell you what it's very simple. It's a spring-loaded cargo strap that's so easy to use. You just pull. That's the tagline. To expand on that further, we talked about it in the beginning. For strapping solutions, you have ratchet straps, which are confusing, and you have bungee cords, which are dangerous and made out of rubber. I filled in the gap. I made something in between. So to tell you the logic of it, when I was strapping down the dirt bike, when I was 17, 18, 19, all my childhood, I noticed that cam straps are regular pull straps. They work on dirt bikes just fine. because dirt bikes have a suspension. You scrunch down the front end and the straps hold that tension. They work great.
Brilliant.
But when you
Yes.
take that same strap and you try to help move your sister into college, and you use that cam pull strap to strap down a nightstand, it does not work at all. That nightstand will shimmy and vibrate, and it's loose before you even leave. So then you go to ratchet straps, and the ratchet strap destroys that cheap IKEA furniture because every click is 60 pounds.
Right.
So you either under or over tighten it. And I'm like, son of a gun. So what I did was I implemented a robust, thick, zinc-coated steel spring into the line of the pull strap. So you essentially have that dirt bike suspension effect everywhere you go.
So how difficult was it to get the spring with the right tension to it? Because I can well imagine that you can get some that are so tight that you're going to have that same issue of crushing things. So I guess the sweet spot is less than 60.
Yes, exactly. So that's a good question. So sourcing the spring that's the right tension, I mean, that took a lot of experimenting. I started with bungees, as you kind of implied, which that's a no word in my vocabulary now.
Right.
There's nothing rubber or oxidizable about my product. My product has a lifetime warranty. It will outlast any strap that you pick up. Your buddy's going to steal it long before the strap rusts out or fails or gets sun damage, right? But it did start with bungees because that was what was at the hardware store for my samples, for my prototypes that we talked about. And I noticed that if you put two bungees side by side on it, and I was using scales, that's about 90 pounds. And I thought, well, 90 pounds is good, but needs to be a little tighter. But I started making them anyway with bungees. And then my buddy says, man, it'd be badass if this thing had a spring in it. And I was like, you're crazy, spring. And then, of course, like 30 seconds later, I was like, that's the smartest thing I've ever heard in my life. So I start looking at springs, and you're right. It's like, what spring do I get? What metal are springs even made of? How do I find the right tension? I got on Alibaba, and I found a spring manufacturer, and I said, hey, can you just send me a whole bunch of springs so I can do a bunch of testing? And luckily, Chinese suppliers, they're very giddy and excited to get business. So they'll bend over backwards. They'll charge you, the shipping, but they'll put together a kit and help you out. So I got my 30 springs and I start doing my tests, and it turned out 120 pounds was the perfect tension for my first model, my 1-inch strap. Now that's just the maximum tension. You really select how much tension by grabbing a hold of the tail end and pulling, like we're all familiar with. You pull 30 pounds, it's going to hold that 30 pounds, no matter if the load shifts or sinks. You throw your shoulders into it, you're going to get that whole 120 pounds, and it's going to stay there. Even if the boxes you're crush, even if your tent pieces kind of chicane and shrink and slide, it's going to hug that cargo and keep that tension on there. So you never have to ratchet, and it never comes loose.
So I haven't looked in detail on the torque straps, which, by the way, I forgot. I always like after the intro, I like telling people where the website is. That's torquestrap.com, torquestrap.com. Go over there now and look at this stuff. So I looked at it briefly. So this is a guess that I'm going to ask you about. I would assume that on the torque strap, it's not just the spring between a couple of high strength nylon straps. You actually have like a safety nylon strap that connects it. So if the spring should fail for some reason, your strap is still going to be consistent. You're still going to have something there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good call because a spring itself does not have a weight rating. So it has what's called a limiter band. That's what limits you when you pull it at 120 pounds. It's not going to expand more than about 3 inches. Mm-hmm. It's going to limit it. And that limiter band is one continuous piece of polyester that is the strap. So the strap is all one solid piece. All of your load rating comes from the strap itself. The spring adds you the bonus tension that won't come loose.
That allows the strap to change with whatever's going on. If you're going down the road or whatever, it keeps that tension on there. It's not getting loose.
Yeah. I mean, the most common example is the cardboard box, right? I know we're all hauling things heavier and bigger than cardboard boxes, but that's a quintessential scenario. You cinch down a cardboard box, the cardboard compresses, maybe it starts to get moist, and pretty soon all the tension is lost. The torque strap will hug that box and hold it and follow with it and keep it tight no matter what happens to it. Now, when you scale that up and you look at your UTV on a flatbed trailer that hops from one side to the other, now one side is loose and one side is tight. Or you look at your cooler that was sitting right on top of a ridge in your bed, in the bed of your truck, and it slipped down into a different groove. And now that ratchet strap is completely loose, and it's a matter of time before the Yeti tumbles down the highway. So in any cargo scenario, there is cargo shift and cargo shrinkage.
Sure.
It's a matter of when. You have two choices. You can either tighten it to all heck, which is dangerous and generally results in scratches or damage, or you can run the risk of it falling off, or you can use a torque strap.
So that was kind of my next question. How quickly can you readjust or adjust the torque straps during a load shift or something? I mean, you got to pull over, you got to jump out. You're not trying to figure out how to work the ratchet strap. Is it really quick and easy to tighten up that strap, maybe shift the load back, or if that's where it wants to be, let it be there, but now we're going to take the looseness out of that strap?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is you never have to pull over again and tighten the load. Obviously, loads are very subjective to the user, but most of us guys, especially your Jeep audience, we know our cargo pretty well. We know our straps pretty well. We know what's going to happen. We know where to put the cooler, where to put the box, where to put the dirt bike, how to lean it. We know those variables enough. But even if you get it perfect, your ratchet strap, a standard ratchet strap, you have to go out, and you're right, you have to retension it. With our straps, you do not. Now, in the case that you did a terrible job loading it,
there we go.
Stuff shifted beyond, repair, then you go out there, you grab the tail end, and you pull it one more time. That's it. I mean, you could literally go out and with one hand in 10 seconds, you could send the wife out, one hand, 10 seconds, boom, go slam that torque strap and cinch that back up.
So not only is it easy to use getting it set up, you can quickly make adjustments, making it easy to get it back tight and then get back on the road. Now, I don't know that I've done this to Tyler or not, but the Jeep Talk Show, we often have $1 million ideas. And I thought of $1 million idea for your product. It's a Jeep Talk Show $1 million idea. So, and I'll think it's really funny if you already have this. So on the strap itself, you need to have a little, like a strap, but something covered so that you can write on it, something that will last. And it's right there where you're pulling the strap. This may not make sense though for your product, but follow along with me here. And on that strap, it says in very clear, large letters, that's not going anywhere, because now they tighten the thing. It's right there to remind you. You got to say, oh, that ain't going nowhere.
See, that's it. You got to say that ain't. If you're in the Midwest, it's that ain't. If you're over in the West, you can say that's not. But you're right. That's
you could have regional. You could have regional straps. That's perfect.
Yeah, hire a regional sales guy to cover the proper lingo at the trade shows. Well, you're right. It's not a certified load unless you say something to that effect. So I think I'm going to write that one down. Thank you.
Well, it's probably not $1 million, but it's close. All right.
Close.
All right. So we were talking about getting into business. So I recently found out that business is ugly, that people aren't friendly. They're not singing, holding hands and singing Kumbaya. They're going in and want to buy your business. And if you don't sell it to them, they say, that's fine. We'll make our own and run you out of business. And I admit I was very naive. I don't know how long you've been making this product, but have you had any nasty situations where either people were saying, that's mine, you copied it, or worse, they want, I mean, it's nice that they want to buy your company. It's, it's very pleasant to feel that way. But then again, if you love your company and you haven't taken it where you want it to go yet, you're not ready to get off the enjoyment ladder, then you don't want to sell it. And you will say, thank you, kind sir, but no, or kind madam, but no. Have you had any of that nastiness?
Yeah, I have. And I want to preface this because I don't like to scare anybody away from business, but I do want them to be prepared if they choose to do it.
Exactly.
In business, nothing is ever as good as it seems, and nothing is ever as bad as it seems. So Tyler's story that he told you, the story that I'm about to tell you, they're going to sound, very scary. They're going to sound like they would keep you awake at night. And in some cases they do when you're that entrepreneur. But it almost never comes out to be as bad as you think. The lawsuits and the infringements and the I'm going to buy you out or force you out or kick your butt in competition. Usually those are signals that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So my story is there's a company out there that I won't mention them by name, but they approached me and they said, and I was still a lineman. I was like a year into selling this thing just on my own website.
Wow.
And marketplace, stuff like that. Anyway, somebody found the website and they said, hey, we think you're infringing on our product. We're the owners of the patent. We distribute through Polaris and this and that and the other. I don't think they would really like to know that what you're doing. So we need to have a talk. And of course, my heart sunk, my gut dropped. This was my baby. This was what was going to get me out of the trades and get the Mercedes. And I'd been working on it for a year. And I read that email and I was crushed. I called my wife and I said, honey, it's over. What are you talking about? Well, did you even talk to your lawyer? Did you this? Did you that? Well, no, it just seemed we're in that teacher student mentality when we're new entrepreneurs.
Sure.
We're always waiting for a teacher to come up and tell us we're doing something wrong. And for some reason,
there's an imposter. There's a feeling of being an imposter. How can I do 100%. This? It's so hard to do business. Well, somebody's going to find me out type thing. I completely understand.
Yeah, I'm sure it happened even with the podcast. You have that who am I to type of feeling. It's very normal. But you got to remember everybody's walking around with that imposter syndrome. Yeah. And after some pep talk from my wife and some pep talk from my lawyer, I said, yeah, you're right. Maybe I should just kind of
body, damn it.
Yeah, I am somebody. So I went back to him and I said, look, man, I don't use those materials that you guys use. Frankly, I never would. I use these materials. And if you want to find out more, you're welcome to buy one at torquestrap.com. And I left it at that. And he just disappeared.
Yeah. Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, in prison, they size you up. I've never been, but I watch all the jail shows.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it on TV.
Yeah, they size you up, right? They want to see what you're made of. And generally, if you fight back, they just don't mess with you. They don't try to take your bunk. They don't try to take your lunch. They just leave you be. So, and obviously it could go farther. It could go worse. That company could have pushed back a lot harder. Tyler's case, I would love to be in his shoes because I've been doing this for 6 years and, I'm the only one crazy enough to do it. Torque straps are incredibly hard to make. It is really, these are like handcrafted straps. We don't make them ourselves in the US anymore. I can't. But they are handcrafted. I've trained the factories. It's bone breaking work, but we make a really quality product. Our price reflects that. No other company is willing to do what I'm willing to do to market it, to sell it, to post on social media every day, to engage with customers. I'll take custom calls. I'll sit down with you for 30 minutes. You tell me everything you're strapping down. I'll solve all your problems. We'll make a custom solution for you. I'm the only person crazy enough to do that. Tyler has a product that makes so much sense that other companies are like, yeah, we want to manufacture that and we want to sell it and we know how to market it and we know we'll make good margins. So, hey, Tyler, how about we just buy your business for X amount? He says no. And they say, okay, well, we're going to push you out. Tyler, I know entrepreneurs and I know Tyler, there was a big part of him that said, okay, game on.
He's very calm. And I won't say that he's timid, but he's very much a gentleman in the way he presents himself and does things. Yeah. He doesn't look like you want to with me. Come on. But that's really his thing was. It's like,
If you if you look at his business and his actions, he's a savvy business person, and he's willing to do the work. So yeah, I challenge whoever that was to try to go toe to toe with him in business. Good luck.
Yeah. The last interview Tyler and I did, he didn't tell me directly, but I kind of figured it out based on what he was telling me while we're talking. I'm looking up stuff on Amazon, and I outed the company that was the one that contacted him, and they got a product looks just like his, same color, which I mean,
Really?
come on, man, same color scheme. And
Right.
I think it was like maybe $20-$30 less. So obviously they're pricing it, and they're probably able, because of who they are, able to buy in such bulk or leverage their other business that they do with these people in China, where they can get a better deal. And the way I look at it is, you guys, you want to steal from somebody else? I'm going to pay the extra $20-$30 and get it from the guy whose idea it was. And I'm hoping there's a lot more people like that.
Yeah, and that's admirable. And business owners like me, we appreciate the Patreon of customers like you. That goes a long way. But also, we're not crying boo-hoo either when stuff like that happens. I know
Part of
Tyler's
doing
not.
business. That's just the way it works.
It's part of business. And guess what? They have a brand name now. Let's call it Boreflate. I don't know. Now people are searching for that. Now Tyler can run ads competing against their name, and he can show up above them, and he can show that, well, we have a lifetime warranty, and we have this many customer reviews, and we have a 4.8 as opposed to their 4.2. So you can step on other people's accomplishments or rip off, however you want to phrase it.
Rip off.
You can use that to boost yourself and make a slam dunk.
Yeah. I really love talking to people that have started businesses, because I think this is true. You probably run across this just day to day, people calling in and stuff, that they're curious about it, because I think we all want to start a Microsoft and be that person. Or it was so funny. I was thinking earlier, whenever you said, why don't you use a spring in there? And you went, oh, that makes so much sense. I was thinking about when Facebook was started, and Zuckerberg had to have that trial, that court thing, where the three other guys that helped build Facebook that he was getting rid of. I went, you just screwed yourself. Whenever you have the trial and this guy that says, I'm the heart of TorqueStrap because I came up with the spring.
Right.
No, there's no evidence of that. They go back to the Jeep Talk Show podcast where you admit it.
Yeah. In the Facebook case, that has tremendous implications. Who thought of what first? In the TorqueStrap space, yeah, like I said, that buddy's not going to come back and say, hey, I thought of that. I'm going to say, well, yeah, you did, thanks, but I'm the one who filed the patent, and I'm the one who's worked my butt off for 6 years.
So you did do the patent.
Nothing.
See, that was the problem with Tyler. Whenever they threatened Tyler, they told him, you don't have patents on any of this stuff. We'll just make it and sell it. So
right.
In that same interview that we did, and I apologize, guys, I don't have the information for the interview. Just search for Tyler or Morflate. It was recent. I mean, it was like a couple of months ago. He now has the patents, and this is the other nasty part of it. It doesn't matter. A patent isn't a get out of jail free card, or you need to stop doing this or I'll sue you, because that's the other part, which you have to sue them. You can't just threaten. I mean, obviously you threaten. Cease and desist, whatever it is, but you have to threaten. And according to Tyler, $50K to start.
Right.
And the U.S. government, nobody protects your patent. You have to do it.
No patent police. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's the big misnomer with it. Is the first thing. I run an Inventors podcast, Invent With Me, because I got screwed, as I told you in the beginning, by all this false information. A patent is not a right to sell. A patent is the opportunity to stop others from selling if they infringe. An opportunity. There is no patent police. There's no one that has your back, and you have to file a suit and have the confidence that they have infringed on your claims clearly enough. And not only that, you have to be sure that your patent is strong enough to uphold that lawsuit, because frankly, the patent office is composed of government workers who are trying to push too many patents through in a short amount of time.
Right.
They could miss something.
Oh yeah.
They could have issued me the torque strap patent by mistake or with errors, right? They're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. This is all subject to human error. So there are so many variables in the patent game. So it always comes back to kick their butt in business. That's your best protection. Build a strong name. Be known as the guy who will take your calls, because that Chinese company will not do that. Be known as the guy with the lifetime warranty who honors it, because the Chinese company is not going to do that. That is your best protection. No one can replicate that.
I think you can lose your patent, can't you? If you're fighting the patent case and the other side argues that this isn't patentable, so you could actually lose the patent that you spent a great deal of time and money. All right, I'm going to get back to the straps, but real quick, it sounded like you started your business on a shoestring. And oh, by the way, mention the name of your podcast, because your podcast sounds like a lot of what I'm doing here, asking you how you started business and stuff. What's the name of your podcast?
It is definitely. It's Invent with Me. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. About to hit episode 100. We have like 4,000 subs on YouTube. It's gaining some traction, but really, I just open up the whole entire path of inventing, and anything I don't have expertise in. You know, I've never invented something electrical. I've never invented something in the kitchen, whatever tools, whatever niche you're in. I've brought on a guest, and I don't pull any punches. Like, we really get down to the nitty gritty. So yeah, that's Invent with Me podcast. Thank you for that opportunity.
Oh no, of course. And I think, like I told you, I think everybody likes to know what the true things are. And this is better than some of those fly-by-night individuals that you ran across about selling without having an actual product and just collecting money. You're out there sharing this information and encouraging people to invent things. And I think the more small businesses and the more things that are invented are better in the long run. All right. So getting back to the torque strap, and I apologize, I get really excited about getting this background information, stuff that you've gone through, because it's to me it's real interesting, and I think people find it interesting. Maybe not, but that's what I find really interesting. Now the torque strap themselves, I'm guessing that people use straps for one or two things, like you said, moving stuff. Well, it's always moving stuff, but moving small stuff like on a flatbed or the back, even in the back of a pickup truck. And then the other thing would be like when you're towing your Jeep out to go off-roading. You got your tow rig, you got your trailer, and you want to strap down your Jeep. And I'm thinking that this would be a pretty good way of strapping down your Jeep. My question for you is, do you make tow straps big enough to tie a vehicle to a flatbed?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I quickly learned that if I want to capture a lot of customers, I need to cover the whole gambit from small, I'm moving my daughter to college, to I'm taking the Jeep to Moab, right? And we definitely cover all that. So we sell a medium-sized strap, the original I told you about. That's a 1-incher. We sell a 1.5-incher, which operates the same way, just more robust. And then I had to invent the Torque Strap Pro, which has its own patent, which is probably worthless. And that one is a 2-inch strap, 3,333 pound safe workload. So I don't nerd out about it, but I think it's important to understand working loads. And it's always some value I can give people with, my expertise. And maybe it's interesting, maybe not, but when you look at working load, a lot of people think I need a strap that's rated for what my car weighs. And that's not really technically right. Ratings are very subjective. Obviously, more is better. But if you look at like the FMCA rules, Federal Motor Carriage Association, they're going to tell you, hey, you just need straps that have a safe working load that is totaled half of the weight of the object you're hauling.
Interesting.
But that's only the weight scenario. Like that will get you out of trouble if you're hauling something low and flat. But a 400-pound refrigerator acts much different than a 400-pound slab of steel on a flatbed trailer with walls, right? So there's kind of like a 3-factor formula, and I don't even like to call it a formula because there's no formulas for this stuff. It is so dynamic. There are so many variables. But generally speaking, if you take the weight of the vehicle you're towing, let's say it's 1,000-pound ATV, then you ask yourself, okay, what is the stability of this? You can give it a 1, 2, or 3. 3 is refrigerator, like teeter-totter, and a 1 is perfectly square cube. An ATV is going to get about a 1 because it's a very wide base, firm object. And then you take another factor, which is how am I going to be driving? Am I doing 75 down a desert highway with a 30-mile-an-hour crosswind? Okay, that's a level 3 type of drive. That's intense. No, I'm just going to be towing around town. It's a little windy out, but I'm not going on the freeway. Okay, so that's a 2. So you take the 1,000-pound ATV, you times it by 1 because you rated it a 1 for stability, and you times it by 2 for the conditions because it's windy outside. You need 2,000 pounds of strap working load. Now, how you divvy that up is up to you. Again, this should be all 4 corners for best stability. You can take 2 1,000-pound straps, or you can take 4 500-pound safe workload straps, right? So anyway, I always like to shout that out because people always look at weight ratings and they say, oh, my car weighs more than that. Well, you're looking at the sum of how many straps you're going to use. Right. So in other words, if you're using 3 of my big straps, you are just north of 10,000 pounds of safe working load. A Jeep weighs, I don't know, you would know better than me, Tony, was about 3,700 pounds.
When you buy them, they weigh about 3,000 pounds. And after you modify them, they go up to like 6,000.
Okay, well, so either way, we're far past that half the weight of the Jeep rating put out by FMCA. So you're putting 10,000 pounds of safe workload on, let's say, a 5,000-pound vehicle. You're overkill at that point. You're well held down. So yes, we make them for any vehicle, just no tanks. And yeah, consider more than just the weight. Consider how you're going to be driving it and the conditions outside and the center of gravity.
Well, wait a minute. You could tow a tank. I mean, you could tie a tank down. You just need more straps. If I understand you correctly. Buy more
straps. Come on.
Buy more straps.
Exactly. That's my tagline.
You need to.
If you don't think it's enough, buy more straps.
Yes, you need to get with the Army and get them to get an M1 Abrams up, and you tie that thing down with 3,700 straps.
Exactly. I've always wanted to tie down something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted to tie down something huge with my smallest strap, just like you said, just use 60 of them.
So are you ever in a situation where you need to tow something? You're a tow strap manufacturer and you can't find one. Where the hell are my straps? I make the damn things.
I was going to pick up a TV for my wife, as us guys do. Facebook Marketplace situation. You get thrown into pretty precarious situations.
Right.
And wife is with me buying it from a female. And here I am, the owner of Torque Strap, in front of 2 women helping me load this thing into the vehicle. And you have any straps? No, I don't have any straps.
But honey, you don't understand. This person called in and they needed the strap really bad. So I had to take care of the customer. Just make it up as you go.
Exactly. I have my straps on display that I don't touch. You see them behind me. And then my warehouse is in Illinois. I'm in Miami. I have a warehouse in Illinois and a warehouse in California because we have so many, customers in the West. So no, I can't get my own straps, unfortunately.
That's a good question because you're from Illinois originally, right? So that's a lot different weather-wise. How do you have a yes and a no when you use your straps? Are they for all weather? I mean, how do they hold up in ice and snow and all that?
Right. Yeah, they're definitely for all weather. Everything holds the same. The pull mechanism, all that. Nothing slips. Everything holds up. And a lot of people ask, because we're big with the kayak industry too. And a lot of people ask, well, how do they hold up with salt water? And the sad fact is, with any cargo strap, they all have the same life in a saltwater scenario, which is try to avoid it because it's not a great lifespan.
Right.
But with respect and drying them out and hanging them up, or even rinsing them off, washing the webbing with some light dish detergent and hand soap in like a Home Depot bucket, for example. All these things are going to last a long time if you respect them. But no strap is really prepared for salt water.
Mm-hmm. How do the springs hold up in rust situations? Do
they hold up better
properly?
than? Yeah, they're coated. They're zinc coated springs, and given that the average life of a strap is about 2 years, they outlast usually any other component. Like I said, first it's usually your buddy steals it. Next, it's going to be if it's been subject to so much weather, you're probably replacing the webbing long before your spring is giving out.
So, do you guys have kits, like recommended kits for what you're doing, what you're going to be using the straps for, or you sell them only individually? I would think that you'd want at least 2 or 3 straps whenever you're getting something to hold down. One strap doesn't really kind of do it.
Yeah, you can't just get one; it just won't do it. We sell 4 packs at minimum, and then 8 packs and 12 packs. So 4-pack is kind of the quintessential, going to get you covered for everything you need. And then you decide, okay, do I want to expand? Do I also want to use these on my ATV? Do I also want to use these on my UTV and then my Jeep? So yeah, you're right. We used to sell 2-packs, and honestly, it was just frustrating to clients because they buy a 2-pack, then they want to buy 2 more. But they missed out on that kind of quantity price of just buying 4 all at once.
Right.
So now it's kind of an awkward exchange we have to do. Okay, I'll discount the next 2. It's just too much. So yeah, 4 packs definitely is the minimum you want.
So on the length of the straps, is it just dictated by the width of the strap and the general length that you want? I mean, I know with the Ratchet straps, you get like 600 feet of extra strap, even if even if you're putting it around a transfer case or something, and then you have all this stuff you're crawling around under the Jeep, flopping over. Is there some sort of standard length for the width of the strap, or?
That's a tough one. The hard part is finding, it's like politics. It's finding a length that makes everybody happy.
Exactly.
And no matter what length you make it, someone's going to tell you it fell short. And a lot of people are going to tell you, can you make this shorter? I'd rather have a lot of people asking me, can I make this shorter? Can you make this shorter? Because then I come back and I say, just cut it. Just take a hot knife, take a lighter, just cut it down to what you're using it for. I can't add strap on. You just can't do it. But you can always cut strap off. Just leave yourself extra. Think about that. And the sweet spot that I found was 14 feet. If we sell them at 14 feet, that's enough to get over any truck bed from corner to corner. Most trailers side to side, maybe corner to corner. And we also sell extensions, which is a longer dumb end is what we call it. So you can go up to 24 feet. But most people, they fall in that kind of 6-foot range. And so they say, well, I want a strap that's 6 foot. Well, if that's really what you want, then cut it.
Right.
But I recommend just, we give you Velcro ties for free. Those nice little Velcro straps to hold down the excess. Leave the length on and just get in the habit of bundling up the excess nicely and in a secure way. Because you invested in a lifetime strap, make it work for every application that you can.
Yeah. And when you say lifetime strap, that's really if it's kept out of the weather and probably not used a lot. So it will last forever. But you're saying in regular use, it lasts about 2 years. Did I understand that correctly?
In my experience, the average person is going to get 2 years out of any strap because they don't respect them. Now, when you buy torque strap, I like to think of it as more of an experience, that tool that you respect. In other words, if you buy a $600 plumbing crimper from the hardware store that comes with a kit, you're going to keep it in that kit. You're going to keep those pieces organized. You're going to keep it out of the rain. I want people to treat their straps the same way because at the end of the day, this is a huge lifeline. This is a huge safety device. And it's an investment as well. Not to say it's overly expensive, but there's no reason to be replacing these all the time. Let's take good care of our straps. Every strap I sell, every box, those red boxes you see behind me, it comes with a poly bag that's water resistant. I've given you everything you need to keep it out of the sun, out of the rain, out of the dust, and safely under the seat, behind the seats, in the trailer, what have you. Under those conditions, yes, this can be a lifetime strap, no doubt about it. If a part wears out and it's my fault, you're taking good care of it, but a part just wears out, I'm going to replace it. No questions asked. I'll cover shipping too. But if you're putting it on jagged edges with no protection, if I can tell you're leaving it in the bed of the truck all winter, then that's on you.
Right. Well, I'm glad I asked because you mentioned 2 years, and it gave me the feeling that your strap is 2 years. You need to get on the subscription plan for the torque straps. So it's not that case at all. It's just like most things. If you take care of it, it lasts longer, and in your case, it should last a long time. All right, so let's see. We can tie down the Jeep. It doesn't have to be a Jeep, but that's my preference. Oh, I remember I was going to ask you: is there ever a case? This is one of those gotcha questions. Is there ever a case that you should be using a different type of strap, like a ratchet strap instead of a torque strap?
I would say if the item you're strapping down needs to have like 500 pounds of tension on the strap, which I can't think of a scenario where you really want to do that. That's a lot of potential energy.
So it'd only be if you're outside the load range of the torque strap.
Well, not even, because a ratchet strap off the shelf at Home Depot, has a 500-pound load rating. We have a 500-pound load rating. The difference is, and again, our Pro, I didn't mention this earlier, the Pro 2-inch, it has a ratchet on it, right? So there's kind of a crossover where typical loads, your dirt bike, you're going to pull your coolers, your tables, your chairs, your camping equipment, you're going to pull it tight. That's plenty. When you get into the UTV, when you get into the Jeep, you need to have a ratchet mechanism, which we do. So that's where you want to transition to that mechanical advantage of getting something tight.
But you have a ratchet on there, so you can still stay with the torque strap. I was just kind of make it easy for people to understand that they can go over to torquestrap.com and they can find whatever they need. They don't need to have a ratchet strap. They can just go with torque strap. It's just easier if you have all the same company's product. It's just, to me, it's just easier to use. You don't have to learn two different things.
Yep. You have the uniform setup, and you have one point of contact if you have any issues. And yes, we cover everything on your rig. We cover it.
All right. I still got more questions, but we need to wrap this thing up. So as I warned you, the wrap up portion is, how the kids love the social media. Where can people find you on social media? And especially if you've got a YouTube channel, please mention that one.
Yeah. So for Torque Strap, all my handles are TORK_strap. It's easier to trademark things that you misspell. That's why we spelled it that way.
Well, that's a good idea.
Torque_strap, anywhere you want to find us. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I don't do long form YouTube videos for Torque Strap, but I post every day new tools, tips, and tricks on the Torque Strap social media. I don't just talk about straps. You can't talk about straps every day for 6 years. You'll lose your mind. So what I do is pretty cool. I go to trade shows and I find other cool products. So if you're just like to look at cool new tools and watch fun, quick, interactive videos, find out if I get the tools, how much they cost, I go and I film other people's booths, their products. So that's a lot of fun. And then we mentioned, if you're interested in inventing your own product, I don't have any ulterior motives. I just like to tell people the truth about the process. That's the Invent With Me podcast, and that's most popular on YouTube long form videos.
Very cool. So, do you have anything on the drawing board that you might want to tease or talk about for Torque Strap? I know you said that you can't talk about torque strap a lot, like on YouTube and stuff like that, because I mean, how much can you do? Is there more that you could do with torque strap? You got anything planned?
That's the thing about, a cargo strap company is you could easily kind of get derailed. And some of my competitors have done that. I wouldn't even call it derailed. They've just strategized. They've tried to make 10 and $20 million companies by selling shackles, by selling compressors, by selling rescue ropes. And that's all fine and dandy. That's easy work to do, but there's nothing inherently novel about any of those products. You can get a shackle anywhere. You paint it red and it's a torque strap shackle, like whip-de-doo. I like to sell products that I've really engineered that really do something differently. Now, with that being said, it took me a long time. It took me 4 years to kind of make this 3-model mix that we talked about, the medium, heavy duty, and the pro. I really am focusing on those 3 models, the bags to protect them, the extensions if you need them, and taking care of my customers. So what's on the horizon for me is now that everything's in line product-wise, you're going to see me at a lot more trade shows. You're going to see me at a lot more on social media, a lot more partnerships, things of that nature. Marketing is what's next for torque strap, less engineering and developing.
Sure. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just always fun to tease people with something that's coming out. The thing, especially with what happened with your dad, now it wasn't a torque strap that injured him, but any strap, if used improperly, you could injure yourself with. I was thinking maybe a torque strap med kit, but that might be a negative. Might be a negative.
Perceived.
Like I'm going to need a med kit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the next thing you have on there is those little fingers, that the little nylon fingers that you put over your nub because you lost a finger. I mean, this would probably be pretty good for April Fools, though.
It would be very good for April Fools, and it'd be very good social media videos. Like, hey guys, I started selling bungee cords, but obviously I need to sell the finger tourniquet with it.
That's right, the Israeli tourniquet. I learned about that. All right, Grant, I really appreciate your time today. A fun conversation. Good luck with the company, torquestrap.com. You guys go check it out, and especially if you have a torque strap or you buy one and use it, I would like to hear what you think about it. I'm sure Grant would like to hear about it as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah,
Tony.
Grant, have a great day. I'll have to check out your podcast. What was it again?
Invent with Me.
Very, very cool. And the podcast helps people sell their product without actually creating it. Just make money. Just go to the mailbox.
Exactly. It's just we sell this dream, this
Yes.
It's seemingly impossible dream, or just give it to you. Just give me all your money and I'll make all your dreams come true.
Sign up now and don't bitch about the flavor Kool-Aid that I asked you to drink on the final day.
Exactly. Just take it down.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tony.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.
xjtalk.com-llc and the Jeep Talk Show podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the host, guests, and contributors are their own and do not represent professional advice, endorsements, or recommendations. We strongly advise consulting a licensed or certified mechanic or automotive professional for any repairs, modifications, or maintenance to your vehicle. By listening to or using any information provided on this show, you assume full responsibility for your actions and any resulting consequences, including potential risks to safety, property, or legal compliance. The Jeep Talk Show and its affiliates disclaim all liability for any damages or losses arising from the application of this content.